At my sister's wedding, they erased my name, so I let them walk right into my trap. I'm Rosalind, the one who designed every arch and vaulted ceiling in that Sonoma estate. Yet when I stepped onto the gravel drive, the welcome board read, "Only Daphne and West Hart." My seat missing. My name on the program gone. Mom brushed it off with a laugh, printing error honey, while Dad clapped the groom on the back like he'd just inherited the deed. A week later, her new husband's lawyer slid documents across the marble island I'd chosen myself. "You have no claim to the property." I smiled, signed, and placed the keys in his hand. The moment their moving truck pulled up, every hidden camera blinked red, streaming live to the notary downtown. The estate wasn't mine. It wasn't theirs either. Ever had your own family pretend you don't exist in the home you paid for? Drop your city in the comments and tell me how you handled it. I read everyone. But that moment didn't come out of nowhere. I grew up in a house where my shadow barely registered next to my sister Daphne's spotlight. She was born 5 years after me, and from her first cry, the balance shifted fast. I remember the science fair in 6th grade. I'd spent weeks assembling a solar-powered water pump cardboard base, plastic tubing a motor I bought with saved allowance. The judges awarded it a blue ribbon. But when my mom Valerie picked us up, she barely looked at my project rattling in the back seat. My sister Daphne had colored a poster about endangered frogs covered in glitter and stickers. Valerie raved the entire drive about her little artist. My ribbon ended up in a drawer. The poster stayed taped in the kitchen for months. My dad Paul coached Daphne's soccer team every Saturday, showing up with orange slices and a booming voice. My track meets. He missed nearly all sighting deadlines, yet I'd spot photos later, him on the sidelines, arms around Daphne after a goal. I broke the school 400-meter record once. He texted, "Proud of you, kid." End of message. Birthdays highlighted the gap. Mine landed in late February, quiet dinner, store-bought cake, if lucky. Daphne's came in June, perfect for outdoor parties. Paul rented bounce houses, hired clowns, invited half the block. I received a card with cash. She got a puppy. Valerie explained Daphne's younger, she needs the boost. I was 12. Grandma Gwen saw through it. She'd pull me aside at family gatherings, press a bill into my hand, murmur, "You're shining, Rosie. Don't let them cover it." She lived an hour away in a small cottage by the vineyard, and I'd ride my bike there on weekends to escape. She stored my awards in a labeled shoebox under her bed, said they counted even if ignored. High school sharpened the divide. I made the honor roll every term. Report cards hit the fridge briefly until Daphne's arrived. Hers showed a B in algebra, but Valerie framed it for effort. My perfect scores earned a nod, then help with Daphne's college essays. She aimed for journalism. I targeted architecture. Guess who got the new laptop? Prom night crystallized everything. I'd saved for a simple navy dress from the mall. Daphne announced last minute she wanted to attend. Valerie took her shopping, spent $600 on a sparkling gown. Event photos, Daphne centered me half out of frame. Paul posted online, "My princess off to the ball." No mention of me. College applications turned hostile. I secured a full scholarship to Berkeley's architecture program, top applicant. Valerie cried, but over Daphne's waitlist at her backup school. My acceptance celebration morphed into drafting appeal letters for my sister. Paul even phoned my advisor, asking if I could defer to support family. I left for campus early to breathe. Daphne started at community college, transferred later. Valerie boasted about her determination. I funded tuition with internships and late shifts at a drafting office. No one saw the exhaustion. Thanksgiving visits tested my patience. I'd return with portfolio sketches, real client work, intern credits. Paul glanced, muttered complicated, then praised Daphne's campus radio gig. Valerie asked me to set the table while my sister relaxed. Grandma Gwen slipped me gas money, winked, urged me to keep creating. One holiday I presented my first freelance check, $3,000 for restoring a historic lobby. I hoped they'd notice. Valerie used it to buy Daphne podcast equipment. Paul patted my back. Nice, honey. She's building something big. I quit regular visits after that. Only calls. Daphne's voice always filled the background, demanding attention. Valerie dismissed it as excitement. Paul mailed birthday cards to the girls, Daphne's name bolder. Grandma Gwen phoned the week she died. She left me her cottage, a quiet plot by the grapes. No one contested it, too modest, they said. I sold it, funded my first major contract. Daphne got engaged that same month. Valerie planned the wedding before I even learned the groom's name. That pattern never changed. I laid the groundwork. Daphne took the spotlight. Fast forward to my late 20s when I finally landed a spot at a mid-sized design firm in San Francisco. The commute from Napa took 2 hours each day, but the paycheck made it worth the bridge tolls. I started as a junior drafter, fixing red lines on commercial interiors, retail spaces, office lobbies, nothing glamorous. Nights blurred into weekends at the drafting table, the coffee cold by morning. My first real break came with a boutique hotel chain expanding into wine country. They needed a flagship property that screamed luxury without shouting the price tag. I pitched a concept blending rustic beams with modern glass, open courtyards, fire pits, views that sold rooms before guests arrived. The partners liked it enough to put me on lead for the Sonoma site, a 40-acre parcel dotted with old vines. Construction kicked off slow. Permits dragged, contractors bickered over change orders. I lived on site in a trailer, boots caked in clay, measuring every joist myself. Suppliers shorted materials. I drove to Sacramento at midnight for replacements. One subcontractor walked off after a payment dispute I negotiated with the bank to float the invoice until escrow closed. The owners pushed for extras: a spa wing, tasting room, infinity pool overlooking the valley. Budget ballooned, but so did my role. I sourced reclaimed oak from a demolished barn in Healdsburg, negotiated marble slabs direct from an Italian quarry contact. Deadlines loomed. I pulled all-nighters rendering elevations, coordinating electricians and plumbers through group texts that never slept. Mom called once during a pour, the concrete trucks idling outside my window. "Daphne's thinking of visiting the site for her blog," she said. I muted the foreman yelling about rebar spacing and told her the roads were torn up. She sighed. "You're always so busy." Click. The project wrapped 6 weeks behind schedule but under the revised budget. Opening weekend sold out in hours. Reviews raved about the seamless flow from lobby to vineyards, the way light hit the stone at golden hour. The firm threw a launch party in the grand hall, catered small bites, local Pinot flowing. Partners shook my hand, slipped an envelope thick with a bonus check, $120,000. I stared at the numbers in my apartment that night. Takeout forgotten on the counter. Enough to change things. Grandma Gwen's voice echoed, "Build something that lasts." Mom had complained for years about their cramped condo in Napa, the leaky roof, the neighbors too close. I pictured a place where she could host a bridge club, Dad could grill without smoke alarms blaring. I met my lawyer Harper the next week downtown. She specialized in real estate trusts, knew how to shield assets from family claims. Set it up under an LLC, she advised, sliding forms across the desk. Riley Pine LLC, named after an old drafting partner who'd moved to Oregon, no blood relation. Title in the company, name me as sole manager. Operating agreement locked tight. The land hunt started immediately. Sonoma parcels moved fast. I bid on a hillside estate with existing Cabernet Rose, a crumbling manor begging for rebirth. The seller accepted my offer contingent on a quick close. I wired the bonus as down payment, secured a construction loan against future equity. Harper handled the paperwork, deed to the LLC, no personal lien. Design phase consumed me. I sketched a chateau inspired by Provençal farmhouses, stone facade, terracotta tiles, wraparound terraces catching sunset over the vines. Guest suites for visiting cousins, a chef's kitchen. Mom always wanted wine cellar Dad could stock. I spec'd smart systems from the ground up, recessed lighting, automated shades, security feeds, routed through encrypted cloud storage. My friends, Tessa Nolan and Riley, old college crew, turned sounding board helped on weekends. Tessa sourced antiques from estate sales in Petaluma. Nolan wired the low-voltage backbone. Riley, the tech whiz, integrated cameras into every corner, discrete pinholes in crown-molding motion-triggered high-def. Paranoid. Much he joked soldering the last feed. I shrugged. Better safe. We linked the system to a private server, a live stream option keyed to a single contact, Mr. Donovan the notary Harper trusted for sensitive closings. One click, and he'd witness whatever unfolded in real-time, legal eyes on standby. I tested it from the trailer, watching my own reflection blink back from the great room. Foundation poured in, spring framing rose by summer. I camped in the half-built structure, sleeping on an air mattress amid sawdust, waking to hammer echoes. Subcontractors became familiar faces, Jose on masonry, Lena handling finishes. Paychecks cleared and liens stayed clean. The manor took shape, vaulted ceilings, exposed trusses, floors warm underfoot. Mom visited once, hard hat crooked. "It's bigger than I imagined," she said, trailing fingers over granite counters. Dad nodded approval at the built-in grill station. Daphne sent a text. "Looks fancy. When do we move in?" I ignored it. Final walkthrough came on a crisp fall day. Appliances hummed, lights flickered to life, vines heavy with harvest outside the windows. I signed the certificate of occupancy, handed Harper the master keys. Riley Pine LLC owned every inch, undisclosed, unbreakable. The chateau stood ready, a gift wrapped in legal steel. The morning, everything changed. I rolled up the gravel drive to the chateau in my dusty pickup, coffee steaming in the holder. White tents dotted the lower lawn, florists unloading buckets of peonies and eucalyptus. Valets in black vests guided guests toward the parking field I'd graded myself. I parked by the service gate and slipped through the side entrance to avoid the bustle. The great hall pulsed with setup tables draped in linen, towering centerpieces of grapes and roses. A string quartet tuned in the corner. Near the front doors, the welcome easel stood elegantly dressed in cream cardstock, the Hart Quinn wedding celebration. No credit to whoever built the venue. I leaned closer. The guest list pinned beside it read, "Quinn Family Hart. Family plus ones." My name wasn't there. I drifted to the ceremony terrace. Rows of Chiavari chairs faced the vineyard vista, the aisle runner dusted with petals. Place cards lay on a side table, gold foil tied with twine. I thumbed through the Q section. Paul and Valerie Quinn. Daphne Quinn and West Hart. No Rosalind. Not even a blank space. Catering staff wheeled in chafing dishes. I ducked into the bridal suite hallway. Daphne's laughter spilled from the cracked door. She twirled in a lace gown, veil trailing like mist. Bridesmaids cooed, phones flashing. Mom adjusted the train, eyes shining. "You look like a dream, sweetheart." I cleared my throat. Heads turned. Daphne beamed. "Roz, you made it." Hugs all around, perfume thick in the air. Mom stepped back, frowning at my jeans and blazer. "We said semi-formal, honey." I shrugged. Traffic from the city. West appeared, tux crisp, boutonniere neat. My sister's fiancé, tall, easy smile, a real estate law partner downtown. He shook my hand firmly. "Heard this place is yours. Incredible spot." I nodded. "Glad it works." Programs were stacked on a console, thick cardstock embossed crest. I picked one up. Cover Daphne and West joined in matrimony. Inside order of events, no family acknowledgements, no built by loving sister. The sponsor line left blank. The coordinator, a whirlwind with a clipboard named Marisol, rushed over. Family photos in 10. Quinn side by the olive grove. She scanned her tablet. Valerie, Paul, Daphne, West. That's everyone. Mom nodded. I opened my mouth, but Marisol was already typing. Perfect. Guests arrived in waves, relatives I hadn't seen since graduation, cousins juggling toddlers. Handshakes, cheek kisses. "Didn't know you owned a winery," one said. I corrected design project. Their eyes glazed. Conversation drifted to Daphne's dress. When the ceremony began, I found my seat in the back row, half hidden behind a pillar. The chair beside me bore a reserved sign: ushers seated latecomers. No one noticed the mismatch. Music swelled as Daphne appeared on Dad's arm. Cameras clicked. Vows exchanged, rings slipped, a kiss sealed with applause. The reception followed in the grand hall. The head table sat elevated. Daphne West, our parents' best man, maid of honor. I searched for my place. Table numbers climbed. Mine 14, far corner near the kitchen doors. Name card guest, not Rosalind Quinn. Buffet lines formed. I filled a plate and took my seat among strangers chatting about mutual friends. One woman asked bride or groom sister, I said. She blinked. Didn't see you in the program. Toasts began. The best man joked about West's golf swing. The maid of honor teared up over childhood sleepovers. Dad raised his glass to my daughter and her perfect match, singular. Mom followed, voice thick. Watching Daphne grow into this day, it's pure joy. Glasses clinked. I sipped water. Cake cutting came, 3 tiers, fondant vines. The photographer posed, the couple parents flanking. I lingered at the edge. Mom waved me in. Family photo flash. Later in the proofs, I was cropped at the shoulder. Dancing started. Daphne and West's first spin, then the father-daughter dance. Dad twirled her beneath string lights. I leaned against a beam watching couples join in. Tessa texted from the city. How's the big day? I replied with a thumbs-up emoji. Mom found me near the bar. Isn't it beautiful? She gestured to the lanterns, the glowing vines. I nodded. The program didn't have my name. She waved a hand. Printing error. Honey. Vendor mix-up. I pointed to the welcome sign. That too. She frowned. They must have assumed Quinn covered all of us. Dad joined her arm draped around her shoulder. Don't make a scene, Roz. It's Daphne's day. West clapped his back, laughing at some joke. I excused myself and stepped onto the terrace for air. Fire pits crackled as guests bundled in shawls. I overheard cousins whispering. Heard the venue's a gift from the parents. Another added, West closed the deal, smart guy. No one corrected them. I slipped out to the parking field and sat on my truck's tailgate. Stars burned sharp above the hills. My phone buzzed. Harper, everything's set on your end, I typed back. More than you know. The party wound down. Valets fetched cars, goodbyes echoed. I watched Daphne and West wave from the steps, rice showering around them. Mom hugged her tight. Perfect day. Not a glance my way. I drove out, last headlights slicing through the dark vines. A week after the vows, my phone lit up with Mom's name while I reviewed blueprints in the San Francisco office. She sounded breathless. West and Daphne are back from Maui. They want to meet at the chateau, talk about moving in. I saved the file, grabbed my keys. Traffic thinned past the city limits. Vines blurred gold in the afternoon light. I arrived first, unlocked the service door, disabled the alarm. The great hall echoed, empty tables, gone floors, spotless. I brewed coffee in the kitchen and waited at the island. Tires crunched outside. Daphne bounded in, tan glowing hair, loose and sunlit. Roz. This place feels even better without the chaos. West followed, briefcase in hand, jacket slung over his arm. Mom and Dad trailed behind, carrying takeout from a Napa deli. Hugs, small talk about flights and sunsets. We gathered around the island, sandwiches, unwrapped sodas popped open. West cleared his throat. Straight to it. The families agreed this should be our home base. Daphne and I will take the master wing, parents the guest suites downstairs. Dad nodded. Makes sense. Close to everything. Mom smiled. We'll help with updates. New curtains, maybe paint. Daphne scrolled her phone. Already pinned kitchen backsplash ideas. I sipped my coffee. It's not that simple. Wes slid a folder across the marble. Actually, it is. Inside, a quitclaim deed, pre-filled. Property from Riley Pine LLC to West and Daphne Hart joint tenants. My name typed neatly as grantor. He leaned back. Look, we appreciate the build, but the title's murky. Everyone contributed ideas and time. This just clarifies things, no hard feelings. Daphne added, You can visit any time. Mom patted my hand. It's for the best, honey. You're always away for work. I flipped through the pages. A forged LLC resolution attached fake minutes claiming a board vote to transfer ownership. Harper had warned me about this tactic. Easy to fake, hard to fight without prep. West tapped the pen. Sign here and we're done. Keys stay with us? Shock first. I widened my eyes. You're serious? This was for Mom? Valerie sighed. We talked about it. The condo's too small now. Paul added. West handled the legal side, clean transfer. Daphne pouted. Don't be dramatic. It's huge, plenty of room for everyone. I scanned the room, cameras dormant, red lights dark. Harper's packet waited in my truck, the real deed, transferring it to the charity months earlier. But timing mattered. I exhaled slowly. Fine, if that's what you want. West's brows lifted. Daphne squealed. I took the pen, scrawled my name across the line, initialed each page. Mom beamed. See, family sticks together? West checked the signatures. Perfect. Notary seals it tomorrow. I reached into my bag, pulled out the master key ring, heavy with fobs for every door, gate, and cellar, and placed it in his palm. Congratulations on the new house. Smile, fixed eyes, steady. Daphne hugged me tight. You're the best sister. Dad clapped West's shoulder. Smart move, son. Mom unpacked cookies. Let's celebrate properly. We ate standing turkey on rye chips crunching. Talk turned to furniture sectional for the media room king bed delivery. West pocketed the keys. Movers come Friday. We'll change the codes. I nodded. Sounds efficient. Daphne showed honeymoon photos, beaches, cocktails. Mom planned a housewarming barbecue. Paul asked about wine for the cellar. I added little yes to the grill, no to the paint color. Inside, my pulse stayed steady. Coffee cups emptied. West gathered the folder. We'll file this afternoon. I stood. Need anything else? He shook his head. You've done enough. More hugs, perfume, aftershave. I walked them to the door, watched the SUV kick up dust down the drive. Standing alone in the hall, key ring gone, I pulled my phone and texted Harper, signed. Keys handed. Reply came fast, livestream armed. Charity board notified. I locked the service door behind me and drove off slow. The trap snapped shut with my smile. The moment the door clicked open, motion sensors woke every hidden lens. West entered, first duffel slung over his shoulder, Daphne behind him, suitcases rolling. Paul and Valerie followed, arms full of boxes labeled kitchen and linens. Movers in gray uniforms carried couches through the service entrance, boots thudding on stone. Daphne twirled in the foyer, arms wide. Home sweet home. West dropped his bag, surveying the vaulted space. Change the locks today. A technician from their security company knelt by the panel, replacing cylinders. Valerie set a box on the island. I brought the good dishes. Paul grunted approval, eyeing the wine fridge. Cameras, pinholes in beams, lenses tucked behind vents flared red. Feeds split to Harper's laptop in San Francisco and Mr. Donovan's downtown office. Timestamp rolled, live, encrypted, tamper-proof. Audio sharp, every word, every shuffle. West punched a new code. A beep confirmed. Daphne opened the fridge, frowned at the empty shelves. Grocery run later. Movers positioned a sectional toward the fireplace, adjusting for feng shui. Paul directed traffic. That table goes in the dining room, careful with the legs. On screen, the great room wall flickered to life, a projector I'd wired for presentations. It displayed the real deed, Riley Pine LLC to Sonoma Children's Home, recorded 3 months earlier. Notary seal visible. Harper's voice carried through the speakers. This is counsel for the charity. You are on charity property. West froze. What the hell? Daphne shrieked, dropping a vase shard scattering. Valerie clutched Paul. Turn it off. The technician fumbled with the panel. Code rejected. Locks engaged, deadbolts slid home. Mr. Donovan appeared in frame glasses, perched stamp in hand. I certify this live stream as official record. Any occupation without charity board consent constitutes unauthorized entry. He pressed a duplicate deed on camera ink, wet date clear. Daphne lunged for the projector remote. Blank. West yanked the quitclaim from his briefcase, waving it. We have transfer papers signed. Harper zoomed in on the invalid document. Forged resolution. LLC manager never authorized. Quitclaim to a non-owner void. Movers backed toward the exit, hands raised. One whispered, "We're just hired help." Paul slammed the handle, locked. "Open this." Sirens wailed faintly, growing louder. Sonoma Sheriff, non-emergency call, Harper placed earlier. West dialed his firm partner. Voicemail. Daphne scrolled contacts, tears streaking. "Mom, do something." Valerie called me straight to voicemail I'd prepared. Paul kicked a box. Wine bottles rattled. The projector cycled through evidence, original LLC filing, charity transfer board minutes, approving the conversion to a children's residence. Mr. Donovan narrated property taxes paid by the charity. Insurance lists Sonoma Children's Home as insured. Your document claims title from a dissolved entity, fraudulent. Deputies arrived, 2 units, lights flashing through the windows. Knocks echoed. Sheriff's Department, open up. West hesitated, then entered the old code I'd left active for this moment. Bolts released. Officers stepped in, hands resting on belts. The lead deputy reviewed the live stream tablet Harper had emailed en route. Charity owns it. You entered under false pretenses. He examined the quitclaim. This doesn't transfer anything. Cuffs stayed holstered, civil matter, but a trespass notice was issued. Daphne sobbed. We thought it was ours. West argued jurisdiction. The deputy cut him off. Take it to court. Vacate now or face charges. Movers reversed course, couch outboxes reloaded. Valerie gathered the shattered vase pieces, murmuring apologies to no one. Paul demanded my number from the deputy. Her sister will fix this. The officer shook his head. Owner is the charity. Contact their counsel. Business card, Harper Lang-esque. They filed out suitcases, dragging duffels slung. Truck engines roared to life. The projector dimmed, feeds saved to the cloud. Mr. Donovan signed off, record sealed. Case closed. The chateau fell silent, locks reset to charity codes. The fallout came fast. West's firm launched an internal review the Monday after the eviction. Partners watched the live stream, his forged resolution, the quitclaim push. The ethics committee flagged a conflict of interest. He'd used company resources for personal gain. A termination letter arrived by courier, effective immediately, license under review by the state bar. Daphne filed for divorce 2 weeks later. The prenup West had insisted on, ironic, now left her with only the condo down payment. She moved back to the old Napa rental boxes stacked in the garage Paul once filled with tools. Her social media went dark. Followers dropped off after the video clip went viral in local groups. Paul lost 2 listing contracts overnight. Clients cited reputational risk after the trespass notice circulated through country club emails. Valerie's bridge circle fell apart. Invites stopped, texts unanswered. Neighbors crossed the street to avoid eye contact at the mailbox. I stayed in San Francisco, phone on silent. Voicemails piled up. Daphne pleading about a misunderstanding, Valerie tearful over family unity, Paul demanding I return the property to blood. I drafted 1 email, carbon copy to all subject boundaries. I built the chateau for Mom, titled it safely, and watched you erase me at every turn. The charity owns it now. 40 children will sleep under those beams instead of your entitlement. Consider this my final word. Do not contact me again. Sent. Numbers blocked. Accounts muted. Harper forwarded updates from the charity. Renovations began immediately, dorm wings in the guest suites, a playground on the lower lawn, classrooms in the former tasting room. Local contractors donated labor, vineyards sponsored scholarships. The opening ceremony featured kids cutting a ribbon with oversized scissors, laughter echoing where toasts once clinked. Tessa, Nolan, and Riley threw a low-key celebration at a Mission District bar. We raised glasses to fresh starts. Nolan joked about installing cameras in his own apartment just in case. Tessa slipped me a card from the charity director, handwritten thanks photo of a girl swinging high vines in the background. West's bar complaint fizzled, no criminal charges, but his reputation was scarred. He took a junior associate role in Sacramento, the commute brutal. Daphne enrolled in online courses, her profile picture now a solo selfie. Paul sold the boat to cover expenses. Valerie started volunteering at a food bank, perhaps searching for purpose. I accepted a partnership offer in Portland, new city, new projects. Packed the truck and drove north under clear skies. The chateau became a postcard in my rearview stone, glowing warm in sunset windows lit for children who'd never know the drama. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you choose to lock. I learned mine the hard way: give freely, but guard fiercely. Family isn't blood, it's respect earned and returned. If someone dims your light to brighten theirs, walk away. Build something that outlasts the hurt. To anyone watching, set your terms early. Protect your work, your worth, your peace. The right people will honor the key. The wrong ones will learn from the outside. That's the value I carry forward. Self-respect isn't selfish. It's the foundation everything else stands on.